My daughter
I'm not
looked
sure
straight
what
at
to
me
make
while
of it.
drinking coffee in my kitchen and
I'm
said,
not sure if it's a
"From
good
now
thing or a
on,
bad thing.
I want your paycheck sent directly to my account." She said it like it was no big deal, just a normal request. I didn't react. I didn't ask why. I just sat there.
I'm not sure what to
She had
make
no
of it.
idea I had already gone to the
I'm not
bank
sure
the
if
night
it's a good
before
thing or a bad
and moved
thing.
every last dollar out of that account. I had a strange feeling in my gut for weeks, and something about the way she was talking lately felt off. So I didn't say anything, just
I'm not
nodded
sure
a
what
little
to
and
make of
watched
it.
her. I figured the
I'm
best
not
thing to
sure if
do
it's a
was stay
good thing or a
quiet and
bad
not let her
thing.
know I was onto her. I smiled like I agreed, but inside I was on high alert. Something was going on, and I needed to find out what. That's when I really started
I'm
paying
not sure what
attention
to
to
make of
everything
it.
she did and said.
I'm not
At
sure
first,
if it's
it
a
was
good
small
thing
things.
or a bad thing.
She would ask for my debit card to pay a bill real quick, or she'd say she needed to buy groceries for both of us and would pay me back later. Then came the time she told me not to worry about certain
I'm
expenses,
not sure what
that
to
she was
make of it.
taking care of it on my behalf.
I'm not sure if it's a good
Sometimes
thing
she'd
or a
speak for
bad
me
thing.
when we were at the bank or on the phone with customer service, acting like she knew what was best. It wasn't obvious at first, but when I looked back, I started to see the pattern. Slowly,
sure
she
what
was
to make
gaining
of
more
it.
control over my money,
I'm not
my
sure if it's a
decisions,
good
and how
thing or
things
a
were
bad
run in my
thing.
house. She said things like, "You've done enough. Now let me help you." And, "You're getting older. It's okay to let someone else handle things." At the
I'm
time,
not sure
I
what to
didn't
make of
argue,
it.
but something
I'm
didn't
not
sit
sure if
right.
it's a good thing or
Then
a
came the
bad
moment
thing.
she asked for my online banking password. She said she just wanted to check something because I mentioned I was locked out of my account one time. She made it sound like a favor. I
I'm
almost
not sure
gave it
what
to
to
her,
make of
but
it.
something stopped me.
I'm not
I
sure
told
if
her
it's
I'd
a
figure
good
it out
thing or a
myself,
bad
and she
thing.
seemed irritated but smiled and said, "Okay, no problem." That was another red flag. She used the word overwhelmed a lot. Told me I had too much going on and she would
I'm
take
not
the
sure
stress
what to
off my
make of it.
plate. She offered to
I'm
pay
not
my
sure if it's
bills,
a good
manage
thing
my
or a
payments,
bad
and
thing.
take over the boring stuff. I realized she was making it look like she was helping when really, she was setting herself up to take everything over. That's when I decided I needed to stop brushing
I'm not
things
sure
off.
what to make of
I
it.
stopped answering right away.
I'm not sure if it's a
Said I
good
needed to
thing or a
think.
bad thing.
I needed to see what was actually happening with my money. The next morning, I went straight to the bank. I didn't tell anyone. I waited in line, got to the counter, and told the lady I needed my
I'm not
account
sure what to
history,
make of it.
everything from the last
I'm
year.
not sure if it's a
She
good
printed
thing
it
or a
all and
bad
handed me
thing.
the stack of papers. I thanked her and drove home. My hands were sweaty the whole time. When I got back, I didn't even take off my shoes. I laid all the papers on the kitchen
not sure
table
what
and
to
sat
make of it.
down. I started
I'm
going
not
through
sure if
each
it's a
line
good thing or
slowly.
a bad thing.
I used a pen to mark the ones I didn't recognize. First, it was a few small purchases, then a couple of cash withdrawals I couldn't explain, and then I saw a $900
I'm not
withdrawal
sure what
made
to
in a
make
branch
of it.
I've never been to.
I'm not
That's
sure
when I
if it's
felt
a
my
good
stomach
thing or a
twist.
bad thing.
Something was definitely wrong. This wasn't just in my head anymore. There were numbers right in front of me. I kept reading. Some charges were from stores I never shop
I'm
at.
not sure what to
Some
make of
payments
it.
were made late at night,
I'm not
times
sure
when
if
I was
it's a
home
good
watching
thing or a
TV
bad
or
thing.
already in bed. I saw transfers that I never approved. I saw a payment to a company I didn't recognize at all. I went back 3 months and started comparing them to my calendar.
I'm not sure
Nothing
what to
matched.
make of it.
I remembered she had borrowed
I'm not
my
sure if
card
it's a
once
good
because
thing or a
hers
bad
wasn't
thing.
working. Then another time because she left her wallet at home. It all started making sense now. These weren't one-time accidents. These were planned,
I'm not sure
organized,
what to make
repeated.
of it.
My chest felt
I'm
heavy
not
and I
sure if
leaned
it's a
back in the
good thing or
chair.
a bad
I
thing.
looked around the kitchen thinking about how many times she had been here, talking sweetly, acting like she just wanted to help. And all that time, she was helping herself. By the time I got to
I'm
the
not
last
sure what to
page,
make of it.
I had marked more than 20
I'm not sure if
transactions
it's a
I
good
didn't make.
thing or a bad thing.
Some of them were big. I flipped through again, slower this time, double-checking everything. I pulled out a notebook and started listing the amounts. Then I wrote the dates, the places,
I'm
and
not
any
sure
notes
what to
that came
make
to
of it.
mind. I worked for
I'm not
hours
sure
at
if
that
it's a
table,
good thing
barely
or a
getting up
bad
for
thing.
water. When I finished, I just sat there, staring at the mess on the table. I knew now, without a doubt, that the feeling I had was real. Something bad was going on,
I'm not sure
and it
what
was
to
happening
make of
under
it.
my nose. I
I'm
leaned
not sure if
forward,
it's a
rested
good
my
thing or a
arms on the
bad
table,
thing.
and stared at the papers. That's when I said to myself out loud, What I was afraid of is actually happening, and from that moment on, I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. I sat at the kitchen table with all the bank papers spread out and my pen ready. That's when I found the first strange thing. A $1,000 withdrawal I didn't make. I circled it, thinking maybe it was an error. Then I found another one for $850. I went further down and saw a purchase from a furniture store I've never set foot in. I wrote down the store's name and the date. My head was spinning. I grabbed the phone, called the card company, and asked for detailed statements of every transaction for the past 6 months. The woman on the phone told me to hold, and while I waited, I felt my chest tighten. When she came back, she said she could email me copies right away. I printed everything. I wanted to see every single cent. I knew something was very wrong, and I wasn't going to ignore it anymore. I started going through the statements line by line, writing notes in the margins. I saw monthly payments for online subscriptions I never signed up for, music apps, streaming services, even a dating site I'd never heard of. There were small purchases scattered across different dates that added up fast. $20 here, $50 there, $100 somewhere else. I realized whoever was using my information knew how to stay unnoticed. Then I noticed something worse. 2 accounts had been opened in my name. One personal loan and one store credit card. My name, my social security number, my address, but not my handwriting. I called the credit company, waited on hold again, and told them I never authorized any of that. They said they'd investigate, but I could already tell I was going to be the one cleaning up this mess. As I flipped through the rest, I started adding the numbers up. Altogether, it was more than $22,000 in debt. My stomach dropped. I hadn't borrowed that kind of money in my entire life. I sat there staring at the total, trying to process it. The first thing that came to mind was her, my daughter. I remembered all those times she'd borrowed my card for just a minute. She'd say, "Dad, I just need to pay something online real quick," or, "I'll explain later." I didn't think much of it back then because she was my daughter, and I trusted her completely. It's what parents do, right? We assume our kids are honest. But sitting there now, looking at the papers, I could see how that trust had turned into something dangerous. I had given her too much access to my life, too much control. I pushed the papers aside and went to the drawer where I keep old folders. I pulled out one labeled medical because I wanted to check something. I remembered seeing charges from a clinic I didn't recognize. I opened my insurance statements, and sure enough, there were several medical visits billed under my name, but not mine. I read the dates carefully. During those times, I hadn't seen any doctor. I called the clinic and asked for details. The receptionist told me that I had come in twice for checkups and one minor procedure. I asked for the doctor's name, and she said it was listed as my family physician. I hung up slowly. I knew exactly what had happened. My daughter had used my insurance. I had paid for her appointments without even knowing it. I sat back down and looked at everything spread across the table. Bank papers, credit statements, medical records. It felt like my life was scattered there in numbers and printouts. Every page was another piece of proof that someone close had taken advantage of me. I tried to remember exactly when this started. I thought about the first time she said she'd take care of the bills, about when she insisted she knew how to handle online payments better than I did. I couldn't pinpoint the exact day it began, but I knew it had been building for a long time. I had believed every excuse, every explanation, every smile. I didn't want to see it before. But now, looking at the evidence, I couldn't deny it anymore. I had been played. Slowly, quietly, completely. I stacked the papers neatly, clipped them together, and placed them in a folder. My hands were shaking, but my mind felt sharper than it had in years. I double-checked each document, wrote down all the contact numbers, and made copies of everything. I wasn't sure what I'd do next, but I knew I needed to act. I stood up, went to the counter, poured myself a glass of water, and stared at the folder sitting there. Inside it was the truth. Ugly, clear, and undeniable. I remembered how many times she'd smiled at me across this same table, pretending to care, while quietly draining everything I had. I sat back down, took a deep breath, and opened the folder one more time. Every mark, every note confirmed it.
I'm
What
not
I
sure if
feared
it's
was
a good
happening
thing
all
or a
along
bad
had
thing.
finally been proven true. I kept going with my quiet investigation. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. I just kept digging. One morning, I went to the local power
I'm
company
not sure
office.
what to make of it.
I told the clerk I wanted to
I'm
check
not
if there
sure
were
if
any
it's a good
accounts
thing
under
or
my
a
name
bad thing.
besides my current one. She asked for my ID, typed something on her computer, and then looked at me a little confused. You have 2 active accounts, she said. I asked
I'm
for the
not sure what to
details.
make of it.
One was mine.
I'm
The
not
other
sure
was
if
for
it's
a different
good thing
address.
or a bad thing.
My daughter's apartment. I never lived there. I asked to see the contract. She brought it out and placed it on the desk. My name was there, but the signature wasn't mine,
I'm
not
not sure
even
what to
close.
make of it.
I asked her to print a
I'm not
certified
sure if
copy
it's a
for
good
me.
thing or a
She
bad
did.
thing.
I thanked her and left. As I walked out with that paper in my hand, I felt this
That
strange
bring us
mix
to
of
Mr.
anger and
Version.
clarity. Something was
If I can,
definitely
Mr.
being hidden
Version.
from me. From
I'm not
there,
sure
I
what
went
to
straight
make
to the
of it.
phone company. I
I'm
took a
not sure
ticket
if it's
and
a
waited
good
in
thing or
line
a
like
bad
everyone
thing.
else. When it was my turn, I asked the employee to check how many phone lines were under my name.
That bring us
She
to
looked them
Mr.
up,
Version.
asked me to confirm my ID number,
If I can, Mr.
and then
Version.
frowned. There are
I'm
3,
not sure what to
she
make of
said.
it.
I only had
I'm
one.
not sure if it's a
I
good
asked where
thing
the
or
other
a
2
bad
were
thing.
being used. She told me the billing addresses were different. Again, one of them was tied to my daughter's location. I asked for full records and billing statements. She said they could be
I'm not
emailed
sure
to
what
me,
to make
but
of
I
it.
asked for printed copies too.
I'm not sure if it's a
She sent me
good
to the
thing or a
back
bad
counter.
thing.
They printed a thick packet of call records, account details, and billing dates. I left the store holding everything in a plastic folder they gave me. I was starting to collect a paper trail,
I'm
and
not
it was
sure
growing
what to make of
fast.
it.
Next, I called the
I'm
credit
not sure
card
if it's a
company.
good thing or a
I didn't
bad
even
thing.
wait to get home. I sat in my car and dialed the number from the back of my card. I got through to an agent and told him I needed to check how many active cards I had under my account. After going
not
through
sure
all
what
the
to make of it.
verification steps, he said
I'm not
something
sure
I
if
didn't
it's a good
expect.
thing or a bad
You
thing.
currently have 3 cards active, he said. I only had 1. I asked where the others were sent. He gave me 2 mailing addresses. One was mine, but the other 2 were different.
I'm not sure what
I
to
wrote
make
them
of it.
down. Then I told
I'm
him
not
to
sure if
cancel
it's a
every
good
card
thing or a
immediately,
bad thing.
including mine. I'd get a new one later. I also asked him to block any future
that
requests
bring us
tied to my
to
name or
Version.
social security number
If
unless
I
I
can,
showed up in
Version.
person. He put
I'm
the
not
block
sure
in
what to
place
make
and
of
gave
it.
me a confirmation number.
I'm not sure
I
if
hung
it's a
up,
good
sat there
thing
for
or
a
a
few
bad
minutes,
thing.
and took a long breath. On the way back home, I stopped at a copy shop I used to pass by all the
That bring
time,
us to Mr.
but never
Version.
needed to go into until now.
If I can,
I
Mr.
walked in with my
Version.
papers, asked
I'm
for a
not sure
large
what to
folder,
make of it.
and started sorting things
I'm
out
not
at one
sure
of the
if it's a
small
good thing or
self-service
a
tables
bad
they
thing.
had. I separated everything by company: power, phone, credit card.
That bring us
I made
to
extra
Mr.
copies of
Version.
everything just in case something went
If I can,
missing or
Mr.
got
Version.
ruined. The guy at the
I'm
counter
not
gave
sure
me
what to
paper
make of
clips
it.
and helped me bind each stack
I'm
together.
not sure if it's a good
I
thing
labeled
or a
everything
bad
by
thing.
hand with sticky notes. I didn't want to mess anything up. These papers were proof,
That
hard
bring
proof.
us to Mr.
I
Version.
paid for the copies, packed everything
If
in the
I can,
folder,
Mr.
and thanked the
Version.
staff.
I'm
Then I
not sure
walked
what
out,
to make of
holding
it.
the folder close to my
I'm
chest.
not sure if it's
I
a
didn't
good
want to
thing
risk
or a
losing
bad
a
thing.
single page. I was building something serious now. Not just suspicions, but
That
real,
bring us to
documented
Mr.
evidence.
Version.
Back home, I cleared off the
If I can,
entire
Mr.
kitchen
Version.
table. I didn't even
I'm
bother
not
to
sure what
eat
to
or
make
turn
of
on
it.
the TV. I
I'm
took
not
everything
sure
out
if
of the
it's a
folder
good
and
thing
laid
or
the
a bad
papers out
thing.
across the table in rows. I grouped them by type: electricity,
That
phone,
bring us
credit
to
card,
Mr.
and medical
Version.
from earlier. I
If
added
I can,
notes where I
Mr.
needed.
Version.
I circled
I'm not
addresses,
sure what
dates,
to
and
make of it.
amounts. I underlined
I'm not
anything
sure
that
if
looked
it's a good
suspicious.
thing or a
The
bad
table
thing.
was covered. I walked around it slowly, checking everything. It looked like one of
That
those
bring
setups
us
you
to
see in
Mr.
crime shows,
Version.
where someone is trying to
If I
solve a
can, Mr.
mystery.
Version.
But this wasn't TV.
I'm not sure what to
This
make
was
of it.
real. This was my
I'm not
life.
sure if it's a good
I
thing
stood
or
there
a
for a
bad
while,
thing.
just looking at it all. Then I pulled out a notebook and started listing everything I had found so
That
far,
bring us to
line
Mr.
by
Version.
line, company by company.
If I can, Mr.
I wasn't just
Version.
reacting anymore.
I'm not
I was
sure what to
organizing
make of
everything
it.
like a case file.
I'm not
I
sure
spent
if
the
it's
rest
a
of the
good
evening
thing or a
building what
bad
I now
thing.
call my dossier. I found an old binder, added clear plastic
That
sleeves, and
bring
started
us
putting
to
the
Mr.
documents
Version.
inside, one by one.
If I
I
can,
made a
Mr.
cover for it,
Version.
labeled it with the
I'm
date I
not sure
started
what to make
everything.
of it.
I added a timeline
I'm
at the
not sure
front,
if it's a good
showing
thing
when
or
each
a
thing
bad
happened
thing.
and when I discovered it. I printed my notes from the notebook and added them in. I
That
even made a
bring us
checklist
to
of the
Mr.
next steps I
Version.
needed to take, Who to call, what to request, where to go next.
I'm not sure
I
what to
wasn't
make of it.
rushing. I wanted this to be
I'm
done
not
right.
sure if it's a good thing
This was
or
no
a bad
longer
thing.
about being upset or confused. It was about being prepared. Once everything was in order, I closed the binder, set it on the table, and just stared at it. For the first
I'm not
time,
sure what to
I
make of
felt
it.
like I wasn't lost anymore.
I'm not sure if
I had
it's a
something
good thing or
solid.
a bad thing.
I had a complete file of what had been done to me. I scheduled an appointment with a lawyer. I didn't tell anyone. I found a local law office with good reviews online and called to ask if they handled financial fraud cases, especially involving family. The receptionist was kind and gave me a date for the next available slot. I grabbed my folder, double-checked every document, and even added a list of questions I wanted to ask. On the day of the meeting, I put everything in a backpack and drove to the office. It was a plain building with a sign out front. Nothing fancy. I walked in, gave my name at the front desk, and waited for about 10 minutes. When they called me in, the lawyer shook my hand, asked me to sit, and said, "Let's take a look at what you've got." I opened the folder on the desk between us and laid everything out. He pulled it closer, put on his glasses, and started reading everything carefully and quietly. He didn't waste time. After reading for a few minutes, he started asking me short, direct questions. "Do you recognize this transaction? Did you ever live at this address? Is this your signature?" I answered everything truthfully. I explained how I found out when I started gathering documents and what I'd already done, like canceling cards and calling service providers. He nodded slowly, flipping through the pages. After about 30 minutes, he looked up and asked if I was willing to take legal action. I told him yes. I didn't even need to think about it. He said we could start by sending a formal notice, something written and official to show this wasn't a joke. It would act as a warning and show that I had legal help now. But then he paused and told me something that made me stop. He said my daughter might not back down quietly. He told me that people who get caught in situations like this often get defensive. He said, "You need to be ready for her to deny everything. She might try to twist things or turn others against you." He was calm, but clear. He said that when someone feels cornered, especially by a parent, they often use manipulation, guilt, and even lies. I sat there listening, thinking about everything she might do or say. I nodded. I told him I'd be ready for that. We decided not to wait. He started preparing the legal paperwork right away. He said we would file for official recognition of fraud, request the cancellation and blocking of credit lines, and also push for reimbursement of the stolen funds. He printed a form for me to sign, which gave him permission to represent me. I signed it. After everything was printed and signed, he put it in a large envelope. I left the office quietly, carrying my folder in the envelope. I didn't speak to anyone. I just walked across the parking lot and stood next to my car for a few minutes. I took a deep breath and let it out slowly. It felt like I had just crossed a line, one I couldn't go back from. But I knew I had done the right thing. I got in the car and sat for a bit before starting it. On the way home, I called my bank from the car's Bluetooth system. I asked to speak with someone about security changes. When I got through to an agent, I asked them to help me change my online banking password immediately. The person guided me through it step by step. I wrote down the new info and saved it in a new notebook, separate from everything else. I didn't want anything linked to the old system anymore. After finishing with the password, I asked to speak to someone about closing an account. I had a savings account I hadn't used much lately, but I didn't trust it anymore. Too many things had been tied to it, and I wasn't sure what else might be linked without me knowing. They transferred me to someone else. I explained what I wanted. I told them I wanted to close the account completely and take out the entire amount in the form of a certified check. The bank representative confirmed the details, asked a few verification questions, and told me it could be ready that afternoon. I thanked her and told her I'd stop by. I drove straight there, showed my ID, signed a few forms, and they handed me the check. I didn't cash it. I folded it carefully, placed it in a sealed envelope, and put that envelope in my locked desk drawer at home. By the end of that day, I had done a lot. I met with the lawyer, gave him everything he needed, authorized legal action, and left his office knowing the paperwork was in motion. I changed my online banking info. I shut down my savings account, moved the money into a safe form, and kept it somewhere I could control. Nobody else had access to any of it now. I felt drained, but I also felt like I had taken back some power. I went to bed early that night, but I didn't sleep right away. I kept thinking about the conversation with the lawyer, especially his warning. I knew things could get ugly, and I wasn't naive about that. But I had facts, dates, documents, and now legal backing. That made a difference. Before I closed my eyes, I looked at the sealed check one more time and reminded myself I had taken another big step forward today. I got a call from her that night right around 9:30 p.m. I had just sat down on the couch trying to relax a bit. My phone rang and her name popped up on the screen. I answered and she didn't waste time. "Dad, did you mess with the bank account?" I paused for a second and asked, "Why are you asking?" She said she couldn't log in anymore and that something was wrong with the access. I told her that I had changed some things for security reasons. Right away, her voice changed. "Security? Against me?" she said like she was offended. I didn't want to get into everything on the phone, so I told her we weren't going to talk about it like this, but she wouldn't let it go. Her voice got louder and more defensive. She started blaming me for acting strange, saying I was imagining things, acting paranoid. I stayed calm and tried not to feed into the emotion. Told her I wasn't imagining anything. I said I had seen things that didn't make sense and I was being cautious with my information now. That's when I brought up the bank withdrawals, the credit cards, and the bills that were under my name but weren't mine. She paused. For about 1 second, there was silence. Then she laughed. Not a normal laugh, more like a forced one. "You're seeing things, Dad," she said in that tone people use when they want you to doubt yourself. I said I wasn't. I said I had paperwork, solid documents that didn't lie. She went quiet again. Then, without saying anything else, she ended the call. Just hung up. I stared at the phone screen, thinking maybe she'd call right back. But she didn't. I put the phone down and didn't touch it again for the rest of the night. I already knew what was coming next. The next morning, it started. She sent me a bunch of text messages. The first one just said, "Can we talk?" Then more came. "You're acting weird. Why are you doing this? You can't just cut me off like that." I didn't reply. Not one word. I opened them, read them, and left it at that. Then the phone calls began. She called over and over again, back to back sometimes. I let them all go to voicemail. A few times I'd start listening to the message, but they were either angry rants or fake-sounding concern. I couldn't trust anything she was saying at that point. I turned my phone to silent and flipped it face down on the table. I didn't want to block her completely, but I needed distance. I had made up my mind. No more back and forth. No more letting her spin things. I wasn't going to give her the chance to twist the truth or wear me down. 3 days after that phone call, I got a message from the lawyer saying the court notification was officially issued. It would be served to her by a process server soon. It wasn't something I celebrated or felt good about, but it was necessary. This wasn't a personal disagreement anymore. It had turned into a legal matter, and I needed to protect myself. I let out a deep breath when I read the message. I hadn't told anyone in the family yet. I didn't want opinions or drama. I just wanted facts and action. The lawyer said I might hear back quickly after the notice reached her. He warned me again not to engage directly. He told me to let the system do its job. I agreed. That meant no calls, no texts, no emotional conversations. If she reached out, I'd ignore it. Everything needed to go through legal channels from now on. That was the safest route. That evening, I turned off my phone completely and left it in a drawer. I didn't even want to see the screen light up. I knew exactly how she worked. First the guilt, then the pressure, then the blame. If I opened the door even a little, she'd find a way to get in and start confusing everything. I wasn't going to let that happen. I sat at the kitchen table, looked over the binder I had made, and reviewed every document one more time. Nothing had changed. Everything still pointed to her. And now, it wasn't just my word anymore. It was official. I had a lawyer involved, court papers filed, and a timeline in motion. I cleaned up the table, put everything back in the binder, and stored it in the cabinet. Then I made myself dinner. sat in silence, and didn't look at my phone once.
I'm not sure
I
what
was
to make of it.
focused. I was ready for
I'm
whatever
not
came
sure if
next.
it's a good thing
Until
or
the
a bad
notification
thing.
was officially delivered, I planned to stay completely silent. No updates, no explanations, no reactions. I didn't trust any words coming from her now,
I'm not
even if
sure
they
what to
sounded
make of it.
sincere. I knew
I'm
they'd
not
only
sure
be
if it's
part
a
of an
good
effort to
thing or
flip
a
the
bad
story,
thing.
to make me look unstable or harsh or cruel. That was the pattern.
Make
Make me feel guilty, turn the blame around, make me second guess what I already knew was true.
I'm not sure what to
I'd
make of
fallen
it.
for that before.
I'm not sure
this
if it's a
time.
good thing or a
I
bad
wasn't going to
thing.
give her any new information or fuel to twist into another lie. The only thing I was focused on was staying grounded and letting the facts speak. The legal notice would be clear, the
I'm not
evidence
sure
would be
what to make of
solid,
it.
and my silence would
I'm
say
not sure
more
if
than
it's a
anything
good
I
thing
could
or a
text
bad
or
thing.
explain. I waited quietly, knowing the next move would be hers, but this time under the eyes of the law, not just behind closed doors. After the court notice was delivered, she showed up at
I'm
my
not sure
house
what to
without
make of
warning. It was a Saturday
I'm not
afternoon.
sure if it's a good thing
I was
or
in
a
the
bad
kitchen,
thing.
drinking coffee and sorting papers, when the doorbell rang. I walked quietly to the window and peeked through the curtain. It was her. She was standing on the porch, arms
not sure what
crossed,
to
her
make
face
of it.
stiff and serious.
I'm
She
not
looked
sure
angry.
if it's a good thing
I
or
stayed
a
where I
bad
was.
thing.
I didn't open the door. She rang the bell again, then again. Then she started knocking harder, calling out my name. "Dad, this is ridiculous. You're being unfair."
I'm not
I
sure
didn't
what
answer.
to make of it.
I just watched.
I'm not
She
sure if
kept
it's a
talking
good thing or
loudly,
a bad
pacing a
thing.
little, getting more frustrated. After a few minutes, she knocked again, this time louder, hitting the door with the side of her hand. Finally, she gave up. She stood still for a second,
I'm not sure
looked at
what
the
to make
house
of
like
it.
she expected me to
I'm
appear,
not sure if it's
and
a
then
good
walked
thing or
away
a
without
bad
saying
thing.
another word. I waited 5 more minutes before walking away from the window. I didn't check if she was still outside. I just sat back down and tried to focus. I didn't feel relieved or
I'm not
nervous,
sure what to make
just
of it.
steady. That night,
I'm not
I
sure
turned
if
off
it's
the
a good
porch
thing
light
or
and
a
kept the
bad
curtains
thing.
closed, just in case she came back. But she didn't. The next few days were
Then
quiet. Then I started noticing posts on social media. She didn't mention me by name,
I'm not
but it
sure
was
what to
obvious
make
who
of
she
it.
was talking about.
I'm
The
not
first
sure
one
if
was a
it's a
long
good thing
message
or a
about
bad
personal
thing.
boundaries and cutting off toxic people. She wrote about protecting mental
That
health,
bring us
removing
the verse,
negativity, and making hard
If I can
decisions for
become worse,
emotional
I'm not-
safety. It
I'm
was
not
full
sure
of
what
vague
to make of
words,
it.
but very pointed at the
I'm
same
not sure if
time.
it's a good thing
She
or a
described
bad thing.
dealing with a manipulative and controlling relative who didn't respect her freedom. It didn't take much to
That
realize she
bring
was
us
talking
the
about
verse,
me.
I'm not-
I didn't comment.
If I
I
can
didn't
become worse,
like
I'm not-
anything. I didn't
I'm not
message
sure
her, I
what to
just
make of
watched
it.
from a distance. More
I'm not
posts
sure if it's a
followed.
good thing or a
She
bad
shared
thing.
quotes about healing, breaking cycles, and distancing yourself from harmful environments.
That bring us
One post
the
said,
verse, I'm not-
"Sometimes the most painful goodbye
If I
is to
can
someone
become
who
worse,
shares
I'm
your
not-
blood."
I'm
That
not
one
sure
got
what to
dozens of
make of
likes
it.
and comments. Her friends
not
replied
sure if
things
it's a
like,
good
"Proud
thing
of
or a
you,
bad
stay
thing."
strong, and family isn't always love." A few people I even recognized from family
That
gatherings
bring us
were
the
liking and
verse,
sharing her
I'm not-
posts. Some of the
If I can
comments
become
hurt,
worse, I'm not-
especially from people who
I'm
didn't
not
know
sure
the
what
full
to make of
story.
it.
But I didn't say a
I'm
word.
not sure if it's a
I
good
took
thing or a
screenshots
bad
of
thing.
everything. I made sure to save the dates, the links, and all the replies.
That
I didn't
bring us
respond
the
publicly or
verse, I'm not-
privately. I wasn't going to
If I
play
can
that
become
game.
worse, I'm not-
I just kept collecting
I'm not
everything
sure
she
what to make
shared
of
and
it.
stayed quiet.
I'm
There was
not
no
sure if
point
it's
in
a
arguing
good thing or a
online.
bad thing.
Some of her posts included pieces of the court paperwork. She cropped certain lines and
That
added
bring us
captions
the
like,
verse, I'm not-
"Imagine being threatened by
If I
your
can
own
become
parent."
worse, I'm not-
She didn't show the full
I'm not sure what
documents,
to make of it.
only the parts that looked
I'm
dramatic
not
out
sure
of
if it's a
context.
good thing or a bad
Some people
thing.
believed her. Others probably had no idea what was really happening. It didn't matter.
That bring
She was
us
building a
the
story,
verse, I'm not-
one where she was the victim
If
and
I
I
can
was the
become
villain.
worse, I'm not-
She kept pushing that
I'm not
image
sure what
over
to
and
make
over
of it.
again. Some of the
I'm not
posts were
sure if
shared
it's a
multiple
good thing
times.
or a bad thing.
I kept saving everything, organized by date just like the lawyer told me. I didn't
That
reply
bring
or
us the
defend myself.
verse, I'm not-
I didn't explain my side to
If I
anyone.
can become worse,
Every
I'm
time
not-
something new was posted,
I'm not sure
I
what
copied
to
the
make
link
of
and
it.
added it to the list.
I'm not
I
sure
printed
if
some
it's a good
screenshots
thing or a
too,
bad
just
thing.
in case. I had learned not to underestimate how far she was willing to go to change the narrative.
That bring
A
us
few
the
days later,
verse, I'm not-
I had another meeting with my
If I
lawyer.
can become
I
worse,
brought
I'm
a
not-
USB drive with
I'm not
copies
sure
of all
what
the
to make of
posts
it.
and screenshots, plus
I'm
a
not
printed
sure if it's
file
a
with
good
dates
thing
and
or a bad
descriptions.
thing.
He looked through everything carefully and said we'd add them to the case. He said the posts could be used as evidence of defamation and manipulation, especially since they contained parts of legal documents.
I'm not sure what to make
He
of it.
asked me again if I had said anything
I'm not
publicly.
sure if it's a good
I
thing
told
or
him
a
no,
bad thing.
not a single word. He nodded and said that staying quiet was the best move. He reminded me that responding emotionally could be used against me later. That's exactly what she was
I'm
hoping
not sure
for,
what to make of it.
a reaction. I
I'm
left
not
the
sure if
office
it's
with
a
a
good
copy of
thing
the
or a
updated
bad
case
thing.
file and felt a little more prepared. We were building a clear timeline of events, with proof, not opinions, and the truth was stacking up in my favor. Even though it was hard,
I'm
I
not sure
kept to the
what to make
plan.
of it.
Complete silence.
I'm not sure
No
if it's a good
responses,
thing
no
or a bad
explanations,
thing.
no Facebook replies or texts to mutual friends. I didn't argue, I
that
didn't defend
bring us
myself,
to the verse
and I
on
didn't
that.
try to clear the air with anyone. The court would speak for me.
I'm
The
not sure
documents
what
would
to
tell the
make of it.
story. My job
I'm
now
not
was
sure
to
if it's a
protect the
good
facts,
thing or a bad
stay
thing.
consistent, and avoid getting dragged into anything emotional or public. She could
That
post every
bring
day
us
if she
to the
wanted.
verse on
She
that.
could tell her friends whatever she liked. I wasn't going to stop her, but
I'm
I
not
wasn't
sure
going
what
to
to
feed
make
it
of it.
either. I made sure
I'm not
everything
sure
she
if it's a
published was
good thing or a
documented,
bad
saved,
thing.
and safely stored with my lawyer. I didn't need to win people's approval. I just needed to stay focused. We were moving forward. The legal process was still quiet, but it was
I'm not
working.
sure what to make of it.
And until it was done, I
I'm
would
not
keep
sure
my
if
mouth
it's a
shut.
good thing or a
The
bad
preliminary hearing got scheduled a few weeks after the social media drama. I showed up early, sat with my lawyer in the hallway, and waited until they called us in. She didn't come alone.
I'm not sure what
Her
to
lawyer
make
was
of it.
with her, a younger guy
I'm
in a
not sure
dark
if it's a
suit who
good
looked like he
thing or
was
a
trying
bad
to act
thing.
calm, but you could tell they were nervous. When the judge entered and we all sat down, her side quickly tried to propose some kind of deal. Her lawyer suggested we settle everything
I'm
privately
not sure what to make
and work
of it.
out a financial agreement
I'm
without
not
dragging
sure if
it
it's a
through
good
court.
thing or a bad
I
thing.
said no. I wasn't looking for a quiet exit. I wanted full accountability. My lawyer supported that. We told the court we had everything documented. Bank records,
I'm not
forged
sure what to
signatures,
make of
credit
it.
misuse, and
I'm not
illegal
sure if it's a
contracts
good
made
thing
under
or
my
a bad
name.
thing.
The judge nodded, took notes, and agreed to move forward with full review. We weren't playing games anymore. This was serious now. Once we laid out the evidence, the judge
I'm
looked
not
over
sure
our
what to make of
request
it.
and approved a financial
I'm not
investigation.
sure if it's a good
She
thing or a
signed the
bad
order to
thing.
open my daughter's banking history. That gave us access to the transactions tied to her personal and joint accounts. Within days, new details came in. The report showed transfers,
I'm not sure what
payments,
to
and
make of it.
purchases that matched the records we had
I'm not
gathered.
sure if it's a good
It
thing or
proved
a
our
bad
claims.
thing.
There were clear connections between my name, my bank information, and her personal use. Large payments to furniture stores, digital subscriptions, delivery services,
I'm not
all
sure
tied
what
to
to make of
addresses
it.
I didn't recognize.
I'm not
It
sure if it's a
confirmed
good
everything
thing
we
or a bad
suspected,
thing.
and more. Her side went quiet after that. No more friendly offers,
that
no more public posts either. Just silence. I didn't expect an apology, but
I'm
I
not
figured
sure
she
what to
might
make
try
of it.
something else. Sure
I'm not
enough,
sure if it's
a
a
few
good
days
thing
later,
or a bad
something
thing.
showed up in my mailbox. It was an envelope, handwritten, with no return address. I opened the letter at the kitchen table. It was a full-page note written in blue pen in her
I'm
handwriting.
not sure what to make
She
of it.
started by saying she didn't mean for
I'm not
things to
sure
go
if
this
it's a
far.
good thing or a bad
She said
thing.
she only did what she did out of necessity, and that she had been struggling. She wrote about how hard life had been and how sometimes people make choices they regret. Then she asked me to
I'm not sure
reconsider
what to make
everything
of it.
and said that
I'm
family
not
comes
sure if it's a
first.
good thing or
She
a
didn't
bad
deny
thing.
anything, but she didn't take full responsibility either. It felt like a soft plea, not a real apology, just a request to back down. I read it twice. Then I folded
not
it
sure
and
what
put it
to
in the
make of
same
it.
folder where I kept the court
I'm not
papers.
sure if it's a
The
good
next
thing or a
morning,
bad
I gave
thing.
the letter to my lawyer. He looked at it briefly, nodded, and said we would submit it to the court as part of the case file. My lawyer told me the letter could be interpreted as emotional pressure,
I'm
an
not sure
attempt
what
to
to
shift
make
the
of it.
situation outside of
I'm
court,
not sure if it's a
possibly
good thing
even
or a bad
influence
thing.
my decision. He marked it as emotional coercion and sent it along with the rest of the materials. It would show the court that even after being caught, she was still trying to
not
play
sure
the
what to make of
situation
it.
her way. The
I'm
expert
not sure if
analysis
it's a
team
good thing or a
continued their
bad
work.
thing.
They went through everything line by line. The account statements, the contract copies, the forged signature from the electric company, and the fake phone lines. They confirmed that several documents
sure
had
what to
clearly
make
been
of it.
altered. Her signature was
I'm not
real,
sure if it's a
mine
good
was
thing or a
faked.
bad thing.
Every financial link was mapped out. They even compared dates and IP addresses from the
That
digital
bring us
transactions.
to verse
It was all added to the case. The process was steady, but it was
I'm not
moving.
sure what to make
No
of it.
mistakes now. The
I'm
judge
not
had
sure if
everything
it's a
they
good
needed
thing
to
or a
see the
bad
full
thing.
picture. Every day I waited. I stayed quiet. I didn't post anything
that
online.
bring
I
us
didn't reach out to her or to
to
anyone from her side. The
The
only person I spoke to about the case was my
I'm
lawyer.
not sure what to
I
make of
checked
it.
in regularly just to stay
I'm not
updated,
sure if it's a
but I
good
didn't
thing
ask
or
for
a bad
timelines
thing.
or push for speed. I knew things like this took time. Meanwhile, I kept going to work, paid my bills, and made sure all my accounts were fully secure. I didn't want to give her any more
I'm not
openings.
sure what to make of
The
it.
silence from her side didn't
I'm not
bother
sure
me
if it's
anymore.
a good thing or
No
a bad
texts,
thing.
no calls, no letters since that last one. I had expected more
That
pushback,
bring
more
us
drama,
to
but maybe the weight of the evidence was finally settling in. Maybe she realized the
sure
truth
what to
couldn't
make
be
of it.
twisted anymore.
I'm
Whatever
not
the
sure if it's a
reason,
good
I
thing
stayed
or a
focused
bad
on the
thing.
next step. There was nothing more to say, only to wait for the ruling. I hadn't seen her face to face since the court day. That was fine by me. I didn't want to get pulled back into
I'm
old
not sure
habits
what
or
to make
guilt.
of it.
I had spent too much
I'm
time
not sure if it's a
second-guessing
good
myself,
thing or a bad
too much
thing.
energy covering for her mistakes. Now everything was out in the open. The
That
law
bring
was
us
involved.
to
The records were verified. The lies had names, dates, and dollar
I'm
amounts.
not sure what to
No
make
more
of it.
questions, no more guessing.
I'm not
I
sure if
felt
it's a
steady,
good
like I
thing or
had
a
taken
bad
back
thing.
control over something that had slowly slipped away. I didn't know how the judge would rule, but I knew
That
what the
bring
truth
us
looked like.
to
And this time, it wasn't just in my head. It was printed,
I'm not sure what
stamped,
to make of it.
signed, and filed.
I'm not
And
sure
I
if
hadn't
it's a
spoken
good
to her
thing
since
or a
that
bad
day in
thing.
court. No phone calls, no letters, no contact. I didn't miss it.
That bring
I
us
just
to
wanted closure, not revenge, just resolution. Now I was just waiting.
I'm not sure
I
what to
received
make
the
of
final
it.
decision from the court on a
I'm not
Thursday
sure
morning.
if it's a good thing
I
or a
opened the
bad
envelope
thing.
at the kitchen table and read every word slowly, even though my lawyer had already
That
told
bring
me
us
what to expect.
The
The judge officially recognized the fraudulent use of my personal
I'm not
information
sure what to make of it.
and confirmed that my daughter
I'm
had
not sure if
committed
it's a
repeated
good thing or a
financial
bad
abuse.
thing.
The ruling stated that she owed me a total of $22,000 in
That
damages.
bring us
It also ordered her to delete every false social media post she had made about me.
I'm
If
not
she
sure what
didn't,
to make of it.
she would have to pay additional
I'm
fines.
not sure if it's a
The
good
court
thing or
decision
a
was
bad
clear
thing.
and final. I called my lawyer to confirm that nothing else was needed from me.
He
said the case was now closed. Later that day, I checked her social media pages. Every
I'm not
single
sure what
post
to
was
make of it.
gone. She had deleted
I'm
them
not
all.
sure if it's a good
There was
thing
no
or a bad
apology,
thing.
no message, no call, just silence. I turned off the
That
computer
bring
and
us
sat in
to
my chair. The next morning, I walked
Never
through
again,
my
Mr.
house and
Bush,
started making a list.
I'm not
I
sure
wrote
what to
down
make of
everything
it.
I no longer needed.
I'm not
I
sure
went
if
room
it's
by
a good
room.
thing or a bad
In the
thing.
bedroom, I decided to sell the bed. It was too big for one person, and I didn't want to
That
take it with
bring
me.
us to
I added the mattress, the nightstands, and even the
Never
small
again, Mr.
TV
Bush,
on the dresser. In the
I'm not
living
sure
room,
what to make of
I
it.
listed the couch, the
I'm not
recliner,
sure if it's a
and the
good
rug.
thing or a bad
The
thing.
kitchen was easier. I sold the fridge, the microwave, and a bunch of unused
That
appliances.
bring us
I posted everything online with low prices, and
Never
within a
again,
week,
Mr.
most of it was
Bush,
gone. I
I'm
didn't
not sure
explain
what to
why I
make
was
of it.
selling. People came,
I'm not
paid
sure
in
if it's a
cash,
good thing
and
or
left
a bad
quickly.
thing.
I took the money and put it all in a big envelope, which I stored in the drawer under the sink.
That
I
bring
kept
us
only
to
what I
Mr.
truly
Bush,
needed. Everything else was
Never again,
gone.
Mr. Bush,
Once the house was mostly empty,
I'm not sure what
I
to
called
make
a
of
moving
it.
company. I
I'm
gave
not
them a
sure
short
if it's a
list
good
of what
thing
I
or
was
a bad
taking.
thing.
A table, a chair, a few boxes of clothes, and personal documents.
That
was
bring us
all.
to Mr.
I
Bush,
packed up everything by myself over 2
Never again,
days.
Mr. Bush,
I didn't ask for help.
I'm not
I
sure
didn't
what to
tell
make
anyone
of it.
what I was doing.
I'm
After the
not sure if
boxes
it's
were
a good
sealed and
thing or a
labeled,
bad thing.
I sat on the floor in the living room with a pen and notepad. I made one final
That
checklist:
bring us to
cancel
Mr. Bush,
utilities, stop the mail, clear
Never
out the
again, Mr.
pantry.
Bush,
Then I called a real
I'm
estate
not sure what
agency
to make of it.
and asked about rentals outside
I'm
the
not
city.
sure if it's a good thing
I didn't
or
want
a bad
anything
thing.
fancy, just a small house in a quiet area. After a few calls, I found one that was available right away. It was furnished, affordable, and in a town I'd never lived in.
I'm not sure
I
what to
told
make
the
of
agent
it.
I'd take it.
I'm
She
not
asked
sure
when I
if
could
it's a
move
good
in.
thing or a bad
I
thing.
said, Monday morning. That weekend, I made final arrangements. I canceled my landline phone. I logged into my social media accounts and deleted each one. Facebook, Instagram, and even the old email tied to them. I didn't leave any goodbye messages. I didn't post anything. I just erased it all and shut the laptop. Then I called the bank and updated my contact information. I asked them to remove my old address and phone number from their system. I gave them a P.O. box instead. When the movers came on Monday morning, everything was ready. They loaded my small pile of boxes into the truck in less than an hour. I looked around one last time, locked the door, and dropped the keys in the mailbox for the landlord. I got in my car and followed the moving truck out of town. No one saw me leave. No neighbors waved goodbye. I didn't expect them to. The drive to the new place took about 3 hours. I kept the radio off and didn't check my phone once. I'd already disconnected the number. There was nothing left to hear. No one left to call. When I got to the new house, the movers were waiting outside. It was a simple one-bedroom place with a small front yard and a single tree. It felt like exactly what I needed. The movers carried everything inside and left without much conversation. I tipped them, locked the door, and sat down at the kitchen table. There were no memories in this house. No voices, no history, no weight. Just quiet. I unpacked slowly that afternoon. I put my clothes in drawers, set up my bed, and placed the envelope with the money in the closet, high up where I could see it. No noise, no drama, just boxes, furniture, and stillness. That night I slept without setting an alarm. In the days that followed, I kept everything simple. I didn't talk to anyone unless I had to. I didn't give out my new number, which I got from a different phone provider. I only used it for basic things. No apps, no connections. I found a nearby grocery store, a pharmacy, and a hardware store. That was enough for now. I paid everything in cash. I didn't explain my story to the neighbors if they asked. I just said I had moved from the city and wanted some peace. Nobody pushed for more. I spent time walking around the neighborhood, learning street names and figuring out the best routes to avoid traffic. I started a small notebook where I tracked my expenses. Every page was clean, clear, and up to date. Nothing hidden. I kept the TV off most of the time. I liked the silence. This was the reset I needed. Everything before this was over. The new house was small and plain. 2 bedrooms, a front porch with chipped paint, and an open kitchen that looked like no one had used it in a while. The windows were dusty, the floors needed sweeping, and there were cobwebs in the corners. I spent the first 2 days cleaning everything top to bottom. I scrubbed the bathroom tiles, wiped down the walls, and aired out every room. I opened all the windows and let the place breathe. I didn't bring much with me, so I made a short list and walked to a local store. I bought a twin bed, a small wooden table, and 1 chair. That was enough. I didn't want clutter. I didn't want things that reminded me of the past. I wanted just the basics, things I could move again if I needed to. I unpacked slowly and put each item in its place. No rush. I had time now. The silence in the house felt real. The silence wasn't heavy. It wasn't sad. It was just there, like the walls and the floor, part of the space. I kept things quiet on purpose. No TV, no internet, not even a smartphone. I went back to simple habits. I bought a basic kettle, one of those stovetop ones that whistles when the water's ready. I also picked up a small battery-powered radio. I liked turning it on in the morning just to hear the news or some music while I drank my coffee. It didn't feel like I was missing anything. I found a secondhand bookstore nearby and bought 2 books. Nothing deep, just easy reads. One was about cooking for one person. The other was a detective story. That was enough for now. At night, I would sit on the porch and read a few pages before bed. No one walked by. No one bothered me. The quiet outside matched the quiet inside, and it was fine. I kept all my legal paperwork in a folder. I put it at the back of the closet in the smaller bedroom. That room had no furniture, just boxes I hadn't unpacked. I labeled the folder clearly, even though no one else was going to see it. I wanted things to be organized. I had the court decision, copies of bank statements, all the documents from the case, and a printed copy of the letter she had sent. I didn't read them. I didn't need to. But I wasn't going to throw them out either.
I'm
They
not
were
sure
part
if
of the
it's a
story,
good thing or a
and I
bad
had paid the
thing.
price to get them. When the settlement money arrived, I went to a different city and
That's
opened a
bad,
new
Bernie.
account
That's
at a
good,
small
Mr. Verse.
bank.
I'm not.
I deposited every
Again,
cent
but
into
no
that
worse, I'm not.
account. No
I'm
transfers,
not sure what
no
to
linked
make of it.
cards, no shared
I'm
access.
not sure if it's a
It was
good
under a
thing
new
or a
number,
bad thing.
separate from everything. Clean slate. I didn't even tell the banker where I lived.
That's bad, Bernie.
I went
That's
to the
good,
city
Mr.
clerk's
Verse. I'm
office
not.
and filled out forms to remove my
Again, but no
information from
worse, I'm
every
not.
public record I could.
I'm not sure what to
I
make
asked
of
them
it.
to block my voter registry
I'm
from
not sure
general
if it's a good
access.
thing or a
I
bad
asked to
thing.
have my old phone number deleted from utility listings. I changed my mailing preferences
That's
so
bad,
nothing
Bernie.
would
That's
come to
good,
the
Mr.
house
Verse.
unless
I'm
I
not.
specifically allowed it.
Again,
It
but no
felt
worse, I'm
strange
not.
at first,
I'm
like
not sure
erasing
what to make of
myself
it.
little by little.
I'm
But it
not
wasn't
sure
about
if it's a
hiding.
good thing or a bad
It was
thing.
about control, about making sure no one could pull me back into something I had left behind.
That's bad, Bernie.
I
That's
took
good,
cash
Mr.
from the
Verse.
envelope
I'm
I
not.
kept hidden and paid 6 months
Again,
rent in
but no worse,
advance.
I'm not.
I gave it
I'm
directly
not
to
sure
the
what to make
landlord.
of it.
He didn't ask questions.
I'm not sure
He
if
just
it's a
counted the
good thing
bills,
or a bad
gave
thing.
me a receipt, and thanked me. That was it. No paperwork beyond the
That's
basics.
bad, Bernie.
No
That's
small
good,
talk.
Mr. Verse. I'm
He
not.
left, and I stood
Again,
there with
but
my
no
keys
worse,
in
I'm not.
hand, knowing I wouldn't have to
I'm
move
not
again
sure
for a
what to make
while.
of it.
In the evenings, I
I'm
started
not sure
walking
if it's
along
a
the
good
beach.
thing or a bad thing.
It was just a 15-minute walk from the house, not crowded, mostly locals.
That's
No one
bad,
looked
Bernie.
twice
That's
at me.
good, Mr. Verse.
I'd
I'm
walk
not.
slowly, sometimes in
Again,
sandals,
but no worse, I'm not.
sometimes barefoot,
I'm not
just
sure what
listening
to
to the
make of
sound
it.
of the waves. I
I'm
didn't
not
bring
sure
my
if it's a
phone.
good thing or a
I didn't
bad
take
thing.
pictures. I just walked. The air smelled like salt, and the light at that time
That's
of day
bad,
was
Bernie. That's
soft.
good, Mr.
Not
Verse. I'm
dramatic,
not.
just calm.
Again,
I'd usually
but no
stay
worse,
out
I'm
for
not.
about an hour, then
I'm
head
not
back,
sure what to make
make a
of it.
simple dinner, and
I'm
read or
not
sit
sure
in
if it's a good
silence.
thing or a bad
Nobody
thing.
asked who I was. Nobody owed me anything. I didn't owe anyone explanations.
That's bad, Bernie.
It
That's
felt
good,
new,
Mr.
but
Verse.
not
I'm
exciting. Just real.
Again, but
I
no
wasn't
worse,
thinking
I'm not.
about tomorrow or yesterday.
I'm not sure what
I
to
was
make
only
of it.
focused on whatever came next.
I'm not sure if
One
it's a
thing at a
good thing
time.
or a bad
Walk,
thing.
eat, sleep, breathe. That was the whole plan. Nothing
That's bad, Bernie.
complicated.
That's good, Mr.
And for
Verse.
once,
I'm not.
that was enough.
Again,
Every
but
day
no
looked
worse, I'm
about the
not.
same, but not in a bad
I'm
way.
not sure what to make
I
of
would
it.
wake up early, make coffee,
I'm
and
not
sit
sure
at
if
the
it's a
table
good
without
thing
checking
or a bad
emails or
thing.
messages, because there weren't any. I'd do a bit of cleaning, maybe go out
That's
for
bad,
groceries,
Bernie. That's good,
maybe
Mr.
not.
Verse. I'm not.
I had a small notebook where I
Again,
tracked how
but
much
no
I
worse,
spent
I'm not.
each day. I
I'm
didn't
not
need
sure
much,
what to make of it.
and I liked seeing the pages
I'm
stay
not sure
mostly
if it's
empty.
a good thing or a
I'd
bad
sit on the
thing.
porch sometimes just watching the sky, not thinking about much. I didn't worry about
That's
being
bad, Bernie.
productive.
That's good, Mr.
I wasn't
Verse.
trying
I'm
to
not.
prove anything to anyone.
Again, but
I
no
just
worse, I'm
lived.
not.
Some days I
I'm
spoke
not
to
sure
no
what to
one.
make of it.
Other days I might say
I'm not
hi
sure
to
if
the
it's
guy
a
at the
good thing
bakery
or a
or the
bad thing.
cashier at the market. That was enough human contact for now. I didn't feel lonely.
That's bad, Bernie.
I didn't
That's
feel
good, Mr.
angry.
Verse. I'm not.
I was just here,
Again, but no
breathing,
worse, I'm not.
sleeping, eating,
I'm not sure what to
living.
make of it.
for the first time
I'm
in a
not sure
very
if it's a
long
good
time.
thing or a bad
I
thing.
decided to cut the last remaining ties. I opened my old phone and went through the contact
That's
list
bad,
one by
Bernie. That's
one.
good, Mr. Verse.
There were
I'm
names
not.
I hadn't seen in years,
Again, but
some
no
that
worse,
didn't
I'm
even
not.
matter anymore.
I'm
I
not sure
deleted
what
them
to make
all.
of it.
Friends from before,
I'm not sure if
numbers
it's a
from
good thing or
family,
a bad thing.
even people who had nothing to do with any of it. I just wanted a clean list. I
That's
called the
bad,
mobile
Bernie.
service
That's good,
provider
Mr.
and
Verse.
told them
I'm
I
not.
no longer needed the old number.
Again, but no
They
worse,
asked
I'm
why. I said I
I'm
was
not
done
sure
with
what
it.
to make of it.
They tried to offer a better
I'm
plan.
not sure if it's a
I
good
said
thing
no.
or a bad thing.
Just cancel it. When it was done, I turned off the phone, took out the SIM card, and dropped it in a drawer.
That's bad, Bernie.
I
That's
didn't
good,
even want to
Mr.
throw it
Verse. I'm
away.
not.
Just wanted it gone.
Again, but
No
no worse,
links,
I'm not.
no digital trail.
I'm not sure
It
what
was
to make
strange
of
how
it.
something like a phone number could
I'm
feel
not sure
heavy.
if it's a good
But
thing
now,
or a
without
bad
it,
thing.
things started to feel a little lighter again. After that, I contacted my lawyer.
That's bad, Bernie.
I
That's
told
good,
him clearly,
Mr. Verse. I'm not.
I didn't want to be updated on anything
Again,
else
but no
about
worse,
her.
I'm not.
I didn't care if
I'm
she
not sure
filed
what to
another
make of
appeal, gave another
I'm
statement,
not sure
or
if it's a
tried to
good
get the
thing
decision
or a bad
reversed.
thing.
I told him to block future communication unless it was something serious that required my
That's
legal
bad, Bernie.
presence.
That's good, Mr.
He
Verse. I'm not.
understood and said he would note it in the
Again,
case
but no worse,
file.
I'm not.
I didn't ask for
I'm
details.
not sure what to make
I
of
didn't
it.
ask if she had responded
I'm not
or
sure
what her
if it's
new
a
lawyer
good
was
thing or a
planning.
bad thing.
I just wanted it done. I didn't show up for the appeal hearing. The court said it
That's
wasn't
bad, Bernie.
required,
That's
so
good,
I
Mr.
stayed
Verse.
home.
I'm not.
I didn't read the case
Again,
updates.
but no worse,
I
I'm
didn't
not.
search her name.
I'm
I
not
didn't
sure
want
what
to
to
know
make
what
of
was
it.
happening on her side.
I'm not sure
Whatever
if it's a
happened
good
in the
thing
public
or a bad
records or
thing?
behind closed doors didn't matter to me anymore. I had already lived through my part of it. That was enough. My daily routine became simple. I stopped checking the calendar. I stopped keeping a to-do list. Some days I woke up early. Some days I slept in. I walked to the nearby market once or twice a week and bought fresh things. Bread, fruit, some eggs. I brought a cloth bag and always paid in cash. People at the market got used to me but didn't ask questions. I liked that. I didn't talk much. Sometimes I just nodded or pointed. At home I cooked small meals, washed dishes right after, and kept things tidy. I started reading more. I didn't rush through the books. I'd read a few pages, pause, think, and come back later. In the afternoons I'd take quiet walks with no phone, no music, just the sound of steps on gravel or sand. I never talked about what had happened. I never said her name. It just didn't come up. And I made sure it stayed that way. Only two people knew the full story. My lawyer and the judge. I never told anyone else, not the neighbors, not the cashier at the store, not even the man who rented me the house. They didn't need to know. It wasn't shame. It was just private. Some truths belong only in legal documents and closed-door meetings. The rest of it I kept in my head. There were moments when the whole thing came back to me, usually at night. But even then, I didn't speak it out loud. I let the thoughts pass like any other. No photos, no diary, no posts, just a folder with papers locked away. I didn't need reminders. Everything important had already been said in court. The rest, not necessary. It was like a story I once read and now don't open again. Not because I can't, but because I don't want to. I had reached the point where silence made more sense than explanation. One morning I found the last letter she had sent me. I had kept it in a drawer with some old receipts and expired documents. I looked at it for a while. The envelope was still there, with her handwriting on the front. I didn't open it again. I already knew what it said. The same words, the same tone, the same tricks. I took it outside along with an old metal paint can I had found behind the house. I placed the letter inside, struck a match, and dropped it in. The paper curled and turned black quickly. I watched until it burned completely, until all that was left were ashes. A breeze came through and scattered them. I didn't try to stop it. I didn't save any pieces. It was gone, and I was fine with that. I went back inside and washed my hands. The smell of smoke stayed for a few minutes, but it faded, just like the letter did. Then I did what I always do. I made coffee. I used the same small pot I use every morning. I poured it slowly into the same mug I've had since I moved in. I sat at the table in silence. No radio, no noise. Just me and the sound of the spoon tapping against the cup. I looked out the window for a few minutes, then took a sip. The coffee was strong and slightly bitter, exactly how I liked it. I didn't think about anything. I didn't plan the day. I didn't check the time. I just sat there and drank. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of peace. No questions. No waiting for a call. No wondering what would happen next. This was it. Just this. Just me, breathing, drinking coffee, and sitting in my chair. I wasn't trying to move forward anymore. I wasn't looking back either. I was just living. And that finally was enough.